Okay, so Warhammer 40k spoiler season is here. Well, okay, I should say here again because we've already seen a couple of spoilers, including this one, which I did an episode on a little while back. This one actually wasn't confirmed to be an actual spoiler, but it was apparently an image that did show up on an official Wizard site. And I did say I don't think that this one could be real, but it has now been confirmed to me, so yes, this is a real card. That being said, do not leave just yet to go watch that episode, because on this episode, we've got a brand new commander that is way too powerful. I mean, way too powerful. Extremely powerful. I don't know how else to say it. So yeah, with all that said, let's jump into it. After, of course, you blame Eddie in the comments below, because if I make any mistakes on this episode, it's always Eddie's fault, not mine, even though Eddie just, helps on these episodes and does a great job. But yeah, blame Eddie. Blame Eddie right now. Thank you. And I will just preface every single one of these episodes with this. Yeah, if I don't pronounce something correctly, my apologies. I do not play Warhammer. So, Marneus Calgar? Let's go with that. A 3/5 Astartes warrior. Gosh darn it, I'm mispronouncing that too now. That costs 2 white, blue, black with double strike. Master Tactician. Whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. My goodness, really quick, let's do that last part as well, because this can also be great too. Chapter Master, pay 6, create 2/2/2, white, I'm not going to try to pronounce that name again, warrior creature tokens with vigilance. So yeah, this is an Esper commander that, well, really didn't need that double strike, but it has it, so this can hit for a good amount of damage. But yeah, I mean the biggest part of this card is obviously that Master Tactician. Oh my goodness, is that a trigger? Now, Wizards lately has been limiting certain triggers with certain, ways they go about things. And there is a limitation on this. And thank goodness there is. But it says whenever one or more tokens. One or more. So if you've got 10 tokens coming to play at once, you just get to draw 1 card still instead of 10. But yeah, even with that limitation, this commander is incredibly powerful. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the most powerful commander that we see out of the entire Warhammer set, or the precons, or whatever you want to call it. Now, I could eat my words on that and be wrong, but my goodness. I mean, it does not specify what kind of token. It does not say, hey, yeah, creature tokens. Whenever a creature token comes into play, you draw a card. No, any kind of token. So, of course, there is a lot of potential there. And yeah, you can draw an absurd amount of cards with this throughout the game. I mean, without even trying. You really don't have to try. You can just get certain things into play, leave them out there, and all of a sudden you just have just so much card advantage throughout the game that it's ridiculous. And your opponents are going to be just so envious that you have this massive hand, and they're stuck just drawing a few cards at a time if they're lucky. Now, that second part is pretty expensive. 6 mana is a decent amount, obviously, to have to dump into an ability. Now, you do get 2 2/2s that have vigilance, so that's nice, but I mean, even without that part, this card is still really powerful. And yeah, actually, there are ways to, of course, break this commander very easily with that ability and with the trigger. Now, I will mention one thing to keep in mind with this commander is that is not a may for the Master Tactician trigger. That is, just you are drawing a card. You have to draw a card. So be careful with that, and we'll talk about, ways, if you end up going infinite with this, which, of course, there are multiple ways that you can do that, then, yeah, you do need some win conditions. But, yeah, I mean, Pastorical is a thing. I mean, Laboratory Maniac is a thing. So, yeah, there are definitely ways to win just by losing all your cards. Or, I don't mean losing. I mean going through a library. You know what I mean? Or you can just win a Psychosis Crawler and play. Regardless, again, this is a quick take, and I might make any mistakes, and again, if I do, blame Eddie in the comments below. But yeah, as I go through this quick take, I'm going to take you through different cards that might work well with this commander, and just, depends on what kind of build you might want to go with this commander. It could go in a couple of different directions. That being said, yeah, I can definitely see this commander being a very popular commander, and quite quickly, too. So, if you are excited about this commander, make sure you check out my link in the description below. That is the list of all the cards I'm talking about on this episode, and consider picking some of those up sooner rather than later. because, yeah, when a new exciting commander like this one is spoiled, especially as one that is, as powerful as this one, there's a lot of potential for those cards to get picked up pretty quickly and their prices to go up. So, now with all that said, let's jump into the cards to consider. And first up, one of the very first cards to come to mind, for me at least, was Nadir Kraken, which is a 2/3 Kraken that says, whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1. If you do, put a +1 counter on Nadir Kraken and create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token. So this plus your commander just equals fun times for you. And this plus Ashnod's Altar plus your commander equals, well, probably game over for your opponents. Now, we'll get into how it works with Ashnod's Altar, but really quick, just even with Nadir Kraken in your commander, okay? You draw your card to start the turn off. Oh, okay, well, I get a trigger with that from my Kraken, so I'll pay 1. Cool, I get a counter on this, and then I'll make a 1/1 tentacle. And then my commander's gonna trigger because a token came into play, so I draw a card. Oh, the Nadir Kraken triggers, so I can pay another 1 if I want to. Essentially, you can just dump as much mana into this as you want, 1 and then 1 and then 1 and then 1, to just keep drawing cards, making tentacles, getting this bigger. Yes, I mean, Nadir Kraken with your commander, they are a great team just as it is. But with Ashnod's Altar, it gets quite ridiculous, because Ashnod's Altar says, sacrifice a creature, add colors to your mana pool. So yeah, now all you have to do is just sacrifice one of your tentacles that you just made to, use mana to then make more tentacles and draw more cards and, get more counters on the Nadir Kraken. Yeah, I mean, basically, you can just go infinite with this. I mean, okay, technically, not infinite, because, yeah, once you draw your entire deck, you're gonna have to stop, of course, unless you've got a way to win, like a Thassa's Oracle, or a, Jace, Wielder Mysteries, or Labman. There are plenty of ways to win, but yeah, basically, you've got, infinite tokens, infinite mana to a certain point. But yeah, you can do some incredibly powerful things with this commander, whether you're going infinite or not. Speaking of going infinite, how about Annoying Procession? Yeah, this plus Ashnod's Altar plus your commander is just infinite. I mean, of course, you need 6 mana, to actually do this, but yeah, you're gonna have 6 mana. So, Annoying Procession's enchantment says, if an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many of those tokens instead. Your commander, again, has an ability that is quite expensive, again, at 6 mana, and it makes you 2 tokens, usually. But then with Annoying Procession in play, it's gonna be like, oh no, you actually get 4 tokens. And then Ashnod's Altar is gonna be like, did you say 4 tokens? And then you sacrifice those tokens, make 2 mana for each of them, and you basically, just activate your commander again for 4 more tokens, generating an extra 2 mana each time. While also, drawing with your commander's trigger when those tokens come into play. So yeah, again, basically near infinite mana, near infinite card draw. I mean, again, obviously, you're limited by the number of cards in your deck, but if you've got ways to shuffle your deck, or, cards back into your deck, or if you've got, ways to just win then and there with Labman, there you go. So yeah, again, Annoying Procession, Ashnod's Altar, great with this commander. Some other ones that Eddie pointed out as well that can work very well with this commander are cards like Training Grounds and Hearthstone, which also, I guess, combo with Ashnod's Altar too, as well. But yeah, Training Grounds and Hearthstone both can reduce the cost of your commander's activated ability, which of course can make it a lot more efficient, not just to make tokens, but also, to draw cards, and again, also to potentially go infinite. Training Grounds makes the activated abilities of your creatures cost 2 less to activate, and Hearthstone does the same. Okay, but it's 1, and for all creatures, okay, it's very similar. You know what I mean? Anyways, these can help reduce the cost of your commander's ability to make it more efficient, and again, potentially infinitely efficient, or near infinite. But outside of broken combos with your commander, well, there are plenty of things to do with this commander that are just disgusting. I mean, another one of the first cards that came to my mind is Bitter Blossom, a hyper-efficient token generator. Just costs 1 and a black, and it says at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life, create a 1/1 black fairy, rogue creature token with flying. Yeah, 1 life for that is not a big deal each and every single time, especially when you get your commander out. And then all of a sudden, on your upkeep, you're also drawing a card on top of getting that token, which you can, of course, utilize for, other things as well. But an even grosser one, pointed out by Eddie, was Smothering Tithe. Yeah, this is a gross card as it is, but with this commander, it's super gross. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they may pay 2. If they don't, you get a treasure token. And again, our commander does not specify it has to be a creature token, it can be any kind of token. So yeah, Smothering Tithe is like, okay, opponent, hey, your upkeep, you draw stuff, whatever, you draw a card. You're gonna pay it 2? Oh no, you're probably not. Okay, good. All right, so I get a treasure, and I also draw a card now. Basically, any time an opponent draws a card, unless they're paying that incredibly high tax of 2, which is really hard to do consistently, then you're going to be drawing every single time another player draws 2, on top of getting a treasure, which is just gross. And speaking of gross things, drawing cards and treasures, Smuggler's Share. At the beginning of each end step, draw a card for each opponent who drew 2 or more cards this turn, then create a treasure token for each opponent who had 2 or more lands and a battlefield under their control this turn. Each of those, instances happen quite often throughout the game, so yeah, you're going to be drawing cards from this and also making treasures from this as well. So yeah, enjoy additional card draw on top of those treasures there too. Moving on, I mean, even a creature can really help us out with this as well, like Keeper of the Accord. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, if that player controls more creatures than you, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. And on top of that, at the beginning of each opponent's end step, if that player controls more lands than you may search life for a basic plains card, put on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. So yeah, in Esper, you're bound to have players that have more lands than you, because, land ramp's not exactly your thing, outside of, like, Wayfarer's Bauble, but yeah. So you can ramp with this, but of course, on top of, also building up an army with this, you also can get a lot of card advantage out of it as well, thanks to your commander. And yeah, if you've got, again, outlets, sacrifice outlets like Ashnod's Altar and other ones that can give you a lot of value from your creatures, you can keep, the number of creatures that you have in play to a certain amount to ensure that you're getting that trigger. So triggers like this one, and like Smothering Tithe that trigger multiple times in a turn, or, once every single turn, are definitely going to be very impactful in this kind of attack. But of course, yeah, there are plenty of ways for us to make creature tokens specifically, just for, us doing our own thing, not even our opponents having to do things. Felder Retreat, cool. Landfall, whenever your land enters battlefield under control, choose one. We can either create a 2/2 white cat beast creature token, or get a counter each creature we control. Yeah, I mean, now every single time we play a land, we draw a card, essentially, with our commander in play for choosing that first one. And if we play something like, an Evolving Wilds, which, like a fetch land like that, where we can crack it and go get another land, that's 2 cards drawn, just for playing and cracking in Evolving Wilds. Gross. We can also get additional value out of any creatures that do die with Open the Graves. Whenever a non-token creature controlled dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So yeah, now if creatures die, cool! We get a creature token. Great. Or, just with any old time, we cast an instant sorcery. Talren's like, here you go, here's a 2/2 Drake with flying. Enjoy. And on top of, getting that Drake, you also get to draw a card. So yeah, as you can see, there are a ton of ways to consistently make tokens throughout the game. And again, your commander just rewards you even further. Or how about Ogre Slumlord, which is pretty gross with this commander. I mean, it's kind of like Open the Graves, but even better, because it says, whenever another non-token creature dies, you may create a 1/1 black rat creature token, and rats have death touch, which is nice. But yeah, it does not say whenever your non-token creatures die. Any non-token creature dying means that you get a token. So of course, that counts yours as well as your opponent's, and that is a ton of card advantage throughout the game in combination with your commander. But yeah, again, keep in mind that it does not have to be creature tokens, so even a card like Valdarin Bloodcaster can be great in it. Whenever it or another non-token creature you control dies, create a blood token. So even though a blood token might not be all that great for you, I mean, it's not bad. It's, what, is it looting, or essentially, right, okay, not looting, it's rummaging. There we go, we got it. But yeah, rummaging is not, the best thing, but still, we get card advantage just on top of it because our commander's like, oh, that blood token is a token, so here's a card. And speaking of additional card advantage, well, how about Eloise Nephalia Sleuth? Whenever another creature you control dies, investigate. So yeah, we get a clue token, which of course means that we are getting to draw a card as well because we created a token. Thank you, Commander. And of course, again, keep in mind with that one, it does not say non-token creature. So our token creatures can actually head up with this as well. On top of that, whenever we sacrifice a token, any kind of a token, doesn't matter what it is, we surveil 1. So this can be an incredible value engine for us throughout the game in combination with our commander. And of course, there are plenty of other ways, make tokens throughout the game. I mean, for clues, how about things like Trail of Evidence or Tamio's Journal? Trail of Evidence is basically like a Talrin Sky Summoner, essentially. Whenever you cast a sorcery spell, investigate, so you get that clue token, which you can also, just sacrifice to draw a card, which is lovely. And Tamio's Journal, well, might have a better use for those clues, actually. At the beginning of your upkeep, investigate, so make a clue. Tap, sacrifice 3 clues, search the library for a card, put in your hand, then shuffle your library. A tutor that is very repeatable in a deck like this that's going to be making a lot of different kinds of tokens, including clues. And yeah, go get your Nadir Kraken, go get, your combo pieces if you're going for that. Have fun. Or, you can win in a different way, like, Revel in Riches. Cool. Whenever a creature the opponent controls dies, you get a treasure token. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more treasures, you win the game. So Revel in Riches is already a great card. That is one of those, you better get rid of it very quickly kind of cards, or the game is going to end very quickly. it can make you a ton of treasures, can gain you a ton of card advantage thanks to your commander, and eventually if it just sticks in play and you've got the treasures around, cool, you win the game that way. One final thing I do want to bring up, though, are cards like Fairies, Ageless Insight, and Thought Reflection, of course, can work great with this commander as well. Fairies, Ageless Insight says if you draw a card except the first one you draw on each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead, and Thought Reflection is very similar. Basically, it's just, hey, if you draw a card, you draw 2 instead, so there's no requirement, except, the first one you draw. It's just any of the cards that you're drawing. Nevertheless, either of these, of course, is going to work incredibly well with your commander because your commander's trigger essentially gets doubled with these. You are getting twice the amount of card advantage out of your commander's trigger. Anytime any token comes into play, you draw 2 cards, which it's already absurd for just 1, but now it's even more. It's doubly as absurd for 2. So yeah, these cards work great with this brand new commander. But now, as this episode is coming to a close, it's time for me to give you my final thoughts on, and again, my apologies if I mispronounce this, Marneus Calgar? I think I got it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below, please. Thank you. But yeah, this commander is going to be incredibly powerful. That Master Tactician trigger is ridiculous. And yeah, they limited it. I mean, they did. 1 or more. If they didn't have it on there, this would be broken. One of the most broken commanders probably of all time. This thing would just be absurd. It's still absurd. It is still absurd because, again, there are plenty of ways to make a ton of tokens throughout the game. And again, keep in mind those like Smothering Tithe. Anytime your opponents draw cards, anytime they draw cards, if they don't pay 2, you're getting a treasure and drawing a card with them. Not to mention, again, all the different combos that you can utilize with this commander, like, Ashnod's Altar, Annoyed Procession, just with this commander itself and that ability, which, again, isn't really all that efficient, pays 6 to make 2 2/2s. Doesn't really matter because, Annoyed Procession's like, hey, throw efficiency out the window. I'm just going to double your tokens, and Ashnod's Altar's like, yeah, I'm a broken card. I get broken by a lot of things, including the Deer Kraken as well. So, yeah, as you can tell, I'm pretty excited about talking about this commander because this thing is incredibly powerful. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of players out there that are very excited as well, and all players that are going to want to build around it. So again, if you are interested in this commander, make sure you check out that link in the description below for the cards I'm talking about in this episode because, again, when new exciting commanders are spoiled, even before the actual product comes out, which I believe is on October 7th, cards that work really well with that commander tend to go up in price or can go up in price. Because, yeah, players are going to start building the deck before the cards actually even come out, and they'll get that commander when it does come out. But, of course, also make sure you're staying tuned to this channel for even more exciting quick takes and spoilers coming up, and hopefully coming up soon. Man, there are a lot of exciting ones already, and I've got a lot to talk about today. And with that, the show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.